This is Unmasked.
Okay, so for the last 8 years, I've been a dancer. And then last year, or the year before that, I got into Airbnbs. I cut that off. And now I'm opening up a tattoo shop next month. So that's what I've been doing, career-wise.
Okay. So that's a lot of different types of avenues, a lot of different types of just outlets. Tell me where the journey begins for all of that.
Like, what did I start doing first?
Yeah, so going as far back as you want, everyone has their own journey. What's been the journey that's kind of led you to chase all those things down?
Honestly, I got into dancing because of my ex. He cracked a joke one time and I took it seriously and I've been doing it ever since. It's not really that serious. And then I kept doing it because it gave me the life that I wanted, and I just took advantage of my industry and made lots of connections, as you should as a dancer, and I created something out of that. So, but I'm really doing it for my siblings. They're really the only people I have left. So if I'm gonna go out and make lots of money, it's all going to them.
Okay. What was the joke that he made?
I've always been a dancer of some kind. Like, if we were to go to a bar, I used to sneak into bars underage. And every time, well, he was older than me, so when we would go in, I would cut off every person in there that I knew. Small town, all local, everyone knows everyone. I would stop, I guess, like the world didn't exist, and I would just go off, do my own thing. And one day I was talking about it because somebody called me out. One of my friends called me out and said, we take you places, and then you just act like we don't exist. Yeah, I do that for me, because I've always been like some kind of dancer. And then my ex cracked a joke. He was like, well, then you should just go be a stripper. And I did it, like 3 days later, actually. I didn't even know that that was an avenue I could have gone down, but I did it because one of my friends at the time was also in it. I also started dancing underage at the time, and I just kept doing it. After 3 days, I got used to it, and then after 2 weeks, I got the hang of the industry, and probably after 2 months, I created my own hustle, and then I just keep learning along the way.
What do you mean by you created your own hustle?
Everyone had, like, how you talk to people matters. I just brought more of my personality into it. A lot of people go in the industry, and then they become a different person and get consumed by the industry. I just brought my personality into the industry, and people loved it. I don't really know how to explain it in depth.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I've been to one strip club in my entire life, and though it's not my scene, I can see why someone would choose that. I mean, it's easy money, or easy money, at least.
It's not easy at all.
No?
No.
Explain.
It's a lot of physical and mental work, just like anybody working any job, except we have to deal with the pressure from men. At some point, you get desensitized. So you'll see a lot of dancers not be in relationships for years. People who take the industry seriously, or like have trouble in relationships because we know so much about men now, we can put them in boxes. So it's a lot of mental workout to deal with men all the time. It's not, and it's sad that I actually have to explain that to people because people ask me that a lot. Oh, it can't be that hard. Yes, it is.
I will definitely retract my statement. I mean, it's an industry I don't know a lot about personally. People have cracked jokes and stuff saying to, like, be a male stripper and all that. And obviously from the movies, it just seems like you go in, shake your ass a little bit, and you get a couple $100. But that's just how, like, Hollywood portrays it, I guess, or like how they portray it. But I could definitely see where the mental kind of toll would be.
Hollywood is Hollywood, bro.
Yeah, that's true. Were you still with your now ex when you were still, like, stripping?
Yeah, he loved it. He fully supported me doing that. He cracked a joke, but when I took it seriously, he was like,
yeah,
good for you.
Have you had other relationships while in the industry?
Absolutely.
Is it hard to kind of do that? Because I imagine, especially unless you're with a man who is very confident in himself, very confident in the relationship, there's a lot of trust issues that can develop.
You know what's crazy is the only issue I've had in relationships with men that I've been with is not really the insecurity that you would think would come with the industry in itself, it being the sex industry, but usually it's because I make more money than them.
Really?
And I provide more, and then, I'm the one always paying for the trips, I'm always paying for everything. And I've asked all of my exes, every single one of them since I started dancing, they've all said, because the intimidation of me making more money makes them feel less of a man. So, I know.
How
Crazy,
does that
right?
make you feel?
I don't compare myself to other people, so I thought it was stupid, but I get it. I do get it.
Yeah.
I really do understand, because society holds a lot of pressure to men to be something way too much, way too soon in their life. So I get it, but knowing me as a person should be enough, and it wasn't.
That's honestly, I do find that interesting. So I grew up with like old-fashioned values where the man is the provider, the man is the breadwinner, and the woman is the homemaker. And obviously that goes into its own stigmas of whether it's okay or not. And I know there's plenty of happy families that they do that, they abide by those, and they're happy as clams. But for me, I'm trying to think of like myself in that kind of situation. I understand where they're coming from, but I feel like it's less on the insecurity of that and more of the subconscious of what you might be thinking of me as my partner. Because I've had instances to where if I'm not doing that, immediately I'm shot down as I'm not doing anything in the relationship then. And it kind of just downplays my value in the relationship almost. So that's kind of, I guess, my take in that kind of situation. Why, for me, I'm always hustling to make money, I guess. I'm not a cleaner. I don't like cleaning houses. I don't like doing all that. I'm not a homemaker. So in order to continue to contribute, I would need to make the money, I guess, which that's just instilled in me.
I think how high you hold yourself to is up to you. You know what I mean? What kind of man do you want to be? And if you're not secure with yourself anyway, and it's so easy for someone else to beat you down like that, you are not ready for a relationship. Because I know that words do hurt. The people closest to you, they can easily very much hurt your feelings, but staying really is the problem. Because if somebody can't find value in where you're at and they don't, I guess, have confidence in where you're going, they're not worth it to be around. They're not somebody who's going to, I guess, be with you in the long haul. Because even me, where I'm at now, I didn't get here because I had it easy,
right,
at all. So to be non-understanding of, like, I guess, for example, my exes and them may not being as financially stable as I was, I didn't care, because I knew where they were going, where their mindset was. I think there was only maybe one of my exes I really didn't think was going anywhere because he just didn't care to, but that was up to him, ultimately. I'm never going to judge someone because they're at the bottom. I'm going to judge their mindset, how they move, and what they're doing to get there, not what they have in that moment.
So with that being said, with the long game of being with somebody, would you prefer to be the breadwinner yourself, or would you prefer to ride the wave until they can get to that point?
Both. I don't want to carry someone, and I don't want someone to carry me.
Okay. I like that.
But I also did grow up on those old-fashioned values as well. My dad was the one who did everything. My mom stayed home. But that life wasn't really for me. I don't know. I'm just more of like a go-getter than I thought I was. I've always seen, if I see an opportunity, I take it every time. Even if it's an opportunity, not even financially, just in life, any positive like situation or event or environment I could have been in. I've always chose to be exactly where I want to be every time. So I guess I was just kind of made to do it the way that I'm doing it now.
Where do you think everyone that I've seen that has that drive for independence, it always seems to stem down from something, whether that's a situation from their past, maybe a specific parent, maybe just certain just life events. I know where it comes from for me. After many years of therapy and many years of really kind of discovering who I am personally, I finally have kind of been able to stem where it comes from me. For you, though, with having grown up with those old-fashioned values and just the life that you have, where does this sense of, like, hyper-independence come from for you?
Well, that's a deep one. But I guess if I could cut it short, I've been on my own for a long time, off and on, from the age of 12 to probably 13, 14, and then I was really on my own after that. So just from a young age, I've been doing it on my own. I know what it's like to, I guess, be at the absolute bottom and not even to have family to rely on. So I made a life for myself.
I relate to that painfully all too much. I was in a similar situation.
Tell me more. I don't want to talk about myself the whole time.
So by the time I hit 12 years old, my dad kind of unintentionally left the picture. He went to a mental facility, and so I wasn't able to see him pretty much the growing up years, the teenage years, the years that you really find out who you are, the ones that you're developing yourself. And that's when my mom also became disabled. And so from about 12 years old, that's when I had to go from being an average preteen to, okay, you're an adult now. You have to get your first job. You have to pay the bills. You have to pretty much run things. And while I don't ever like talking bad about like my mom or anything, I love her to death. Obviously, cards were dealt in a certain way, so they have to be played. So I relate very much to pretty much being on your own since like 12 years old, having to take care of everything. You said you have siblings that you took care of, right? Mm-hmm. Are you the oldest, I'm assuming? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
See, I didn't have siblings. I had my mom to take care of. So it was me.
Still a tough road, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you proud of where you guided your siblings so far?
No. Because the day I say I'm proud of where I've got them now is the day I'm essentially telling myself I'm comfortable with where they're at, so no. I won't stop until my siblings have the biggest houses out of any friends that they know.
Okay.
I want them to have the life I didn't, you know? And now it's a little more impossible than ever, but I can work with impossible. So.
You can work with impossible.
Yeah.
Okay. Why is it more impossible?
Okay. So.
we're digging up dirt.
All right, let's do it. I'm not afraid to talk about anything from my life. It's just a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So, my mom left the picture a while ago, and she was going through her own stuff, so she left the picture probably about, I want to say 8 years ago. Can't remember the exact timeline. And so my siblings only had my dad. My dad passed away 2 years ago. Then they only had my grandfather until a couple weeks ago. He passed away from the same reason my dad passed away. He had a heart attack. My dad had a heart attack.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So now they don't really have a solid foundation for them right now, which is okay because this hard situation and how tough it's going to take to get them out of it is going to be worth it in the end. It's going to teach them a lot. I just have to be patient.
How old are they right now?
My little sister is 12. My youngest brother is 13 or 14. My oldest brother is 16. I think my oldest brother has it the hardest, but I try to give them as much space. A lot of stuff is recent. 2 years isn't a long time to lose your dad. So I try to be there for as much as they want me to be, and I try to give them space.
Do you see them following the same footsteps that you did when you were that age, or
Absolutely not.
no?
I hope not. I really hope not. So they do have someone taking care of them,
Okay.
and that situation is even more fucked.
Oh, okay.
But they do have someone taking care of them, and honestly, it's probably the best shot they've got right now. So I'm really proud of her for stepping up. She doesn't need to. Those are not her biological children, so I'm very proud of that, and I'm glad that she keeps a roof over their head every day.
If you were to kind of go back in time, back when, like, taking who you are now and visit yourself at that age, what do you wish you could tell yourself?
Nothing.
Nothing.
My entire journey, all the shit that I've been through and all the things I made it out from are worth it. I wouldn't tell myself a goddamn thing.
You would just let yourself go through it all over again?
Yep, I would. Made me who I am today.
And is that a person that you're proud to be?
Absolutely. I am a spitting image of my dad, except I'm more of an extrovert.
Yeah?
He's a little bit of an introvert.
I used to be a major extrovert, but there's been like a switch flipped in me that's kind of like, I have to be in a very certain mood, and not very certain, but like around certain people, and have a certain amount of energy, have a certain, I'm a selective extrovert. I know you were saying earlier that I'm not super extroverted. I think it's mostly just because I'm a selective extrovert. I'm more of a networker and connector rather than trying to be the super bubbly, super eccentric kind of person.
What kind of people do you surround yourself around? Where you have to feel like you have to pick and choose your energy and who you give it to?
That's the thing, is there's a lot of different crowds I surround myself with, and I try to mostly surround myself with those who I want to kind of portray. I live by you're the average of the people that you spend the most time with. And so a lot of it is hanging out with other entrepreneurs, hanging out with other business people, just hanging out with other people who I know have extensive networks, so I can learn from them. I'm kind of in a learning phase right now. I'm kind of in more just absorbing everything rather than, the biggest things that I was taught earlier in my entrepreneurial days is be the dumbest one at the table. If you're going to have a team, you need to surround yourself with everybody who's smarter than you. That's the only way you're going to grow.
Absolutely.
And so a lot of times, because I've surrounded myself mostly with people that I'm trying to learn from, I've learned to quiet myself down so that I can turn my ears on instead of my mouth and learn from them. And a lot of times, I don't like the attention being on me. I like to learn about others. So I think that might be where it's more, I don't want to say selective, as if some people aren't as worth connection as others, but I try to see through bullshit as soon as possible and cut right to the chase. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I do it all the time.
Yeah.
I do it all the time.
It also just depends on my energy. Sometimes if I have a lot of cool things going on, I just automatically have a lot of energy, but a lot of times I have to force myself to kind of get out. I don't know. It's something that I do need to work on with connecting and stuff, but I'm not exact.
Well, just know that your comfort zone will kill you every time.
Yeah. As someone who does seem to be naturally more of an extrovert, what can I improve on to be more of an extrovert, I guess.
Well, being introverted is not a problem. I'm not attacking you, I promise. But I just feel like you can make connections anywhere, and
Yeah.
the longer you stay quiet, trying to overanalyze people
Yeah.
and trying to pick out those personality traits that, because obviously growing comes with, you know, you stop tolerating the same bullshit, so you start
Right.
looking for those characteristics in other people to avoid people like that, which you should do all the time. My therapist told me I also have this problem, but she also told me it's not a problem because I have weeded so many people out of my life with little to no drama behind it. But when it comes to being in a public place full of people you don't know, anybody, I'm talking about anyone, could be like a potential connection. And
Right.
most of the time, for me, it's always been the people you would never expect.
That's where I am trying to change some stuff. I also kind of noticed it depends kind of on what my daily life looks like. I started watching a show recently, and I think I've accidentally started picking up some of the habits from the main character.
Which one is it?
Suits.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I'm Harvey.
Yeah, I've kind of started picking up some of those, but in the toxic things that he portrays instead of like the underlying. I'm an actor, that's like my main thing, and so a lot of times when I'm watching those shows, it's less of just watching and more on character analyzation, seeing how they're portraying this character, seeing what emotions they're doing, seeing like I can tell someone who actually knows their character from someone who's just reading a script immediately based off of how they are doing something, because I've gone to class for it. I study psychology for fun. I have a lot of stuff behind me, so for me the human brain is one of the most interesting things that we can learn about, and especially with my history and my family history with mental illness, I love psychology. And so, but it's a different thing when it comes to acting, because it's a psychology that they have to pretend to have instead of actually having. So, and yes, like there's chemistry readings and stuff, and some people might be able to portray a certain character better, but for like Harvey, you need to have such a very specific guy that's going to be able to come in under pressure, and for some of like the confrontational scenes that they have, to not break under that pressure, to not like back down, but to continue to have those. But then having another guy who maybe he is more of an alpha in real life to come in and play someone who is not and who's going to back down, I can guarantee they're probably going to have to take 20 times, because each time like I have to bite my tongue so much when he's calling me this. So, but I end up, that's been a thing since I was a very young child. I'll watch a movie, I'll find the character that I want to be like, and I'll start kind of picking up their characteristics a little bit.
That's called mirroring people.
I know. And I've done that my entire life.
Well, most people's problems and why they're so quiet or why they act a certain ways because their ego tells them they should be afraid of rejection. I think that's one of the things I've mastered, obviously, as a dancer. You're told no, then you're told yes. You're told no, then you're told yes. You could be told no 10 times in the same night, and yes by one person, and that one person could pay your bills for the next 6 months, you know? So I stopped being afraid of rejection at a young age. Like, people who tell me, no, I can't do this, or you're going to fail at this, every single time I'm like, watch me do it. Watch me do the exact thing you told me I couldn't do, and I've done it for so many people. I've gotten a lot of apologies. Doesn't change who I am, though. So I think, do you feel like you're afraid of rejection a lot of the time? Because I know that you hang out with a lot of people who, you know, you want to learn from.
Yeah.
Who, you know, always hang out with people who have more than you. You know what I mean? Because if you don't set a standard, you know, then basically have none.
I think it depends on the type of rejection. Social rejection, 100%. I will, yes, I'm 100% afraid. I have that approval junkie mentality, needing to be liked and approved by everybody. Like, my goal was to be that one guy on earth that nobody had a problem with, that everybody loves. I definitely grew up as the underdog, so I was always the smallest little pipsqueak in the room, the one that was not usually chosen by the women or for sports or to be part of the guys or anything like that. And so I kind of grew up with this social paradigm of needing to be more than I was. As far as opportunity or career-wise, no. I am a very similar aspect of, you say I can't get that done, so I'm going to do it just to show you that I can, or just to show you that it can be done.
Good.
So it depends on the thing. So yes and no. It just depends fully on the situation. I know lately, just due to my own faith, due to learning more about myself and life in general, I've become a lot less afraid of what people think, a lot less afraid of being rejected, and more of just like, you know what? If you're not meant to be in my life, you're not meant to be here. There's 8 billion people. I'm sure that I can find people that are meant to be, which I think that's kind of where a lot of the selection of connectivity comes from for me, because I have been burned by a lot of people. I have been, like, even people that have been closest to me, I think it's like a subconscious thing that, like, okay, well, if they show these specific personality traits, if I get close to them, it's going to hurt that much more. So I get kind of iffy around that kind of stuff. But I don't know. Do you have any fear of, like, any social fear?
Nope. I don't know. I've just met so many people. I've learned a lot from different groups of people. So, no, not really. I mean, I wasn't always like this. I think I just got desensitized to rejection. But I think the one thing I always tell myself is, if I get a no from anyone, it's the universe telling me I shouldn't be there. So I kind of think of it as a learning lesson. But as far as people, it can happen in relationships, it can happen with family, and it can definitely happen in friendships. But if you're always looking for, I guess, something kind of like being nitpicky, you know, like if so, you're always trying to figure out if someone is going to be the right person in your life or not.
Right.
You're just not ready to have anyone there, because you have to heal that part of yourself that always, I guess, told you that this person's going to fuck up. They're going to leave my life. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. All they're going to do is burn me. If you keep having that mentality, you're always just going to be kind of making yourself more miserable.
Oh, I 100% agree. It's a vicious circle.
Yeah, I had this very problem with my most recent ex. It's like, I didn't hurt you, dude.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? I didn't do anything to you. And now I have to deal with the repercussions because that person didn't heal before they got with me. So. That was a big one, and something that I'm even now dealing with. I've been known to be a relationship hopper, and I am fully aware of all the reasons why and stuff. And it's not that I try to be that quote-unquote fuckboy, that guy that plays. It's because of my own emotional insecurities, because of that emotional dependency. Well, it's okay to step back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's okay to be like, no, I don't need friends right now. I need to work on myself, because if you're bringing that negative energy into other people, it's going to bleed into them just like their energy's bleeding into you.
I just always hated the thought or feeling of being alone. I've never, up until recently, I've never been comfortable enough with myself to be by myself. It was never, I'm alone but not lonely. It was the opposite. I'm lonely even if I'm not alone. And so I always needed to find a partner to fill that emotional void. Even if physically I could take care of us, if physically I could do all the things that the most amazing boyfriend or partner could do, awesome. But emotionally, that was where I was like, no, I need as much reassurance, as much whatever stuff to help my insecurities as possible. And that wasn't until a recent thing that now, like, I'm like forcing myself to 100% be single, not pursuing any women. It's such a challenge, because I meet like one girl and it's like, this could be the future whatever. This could be the future wife right here. Cool. And then I don't know. There's like a whole different stigma behind all that.
Don't do it. You're not ready.
No, I know. And that's one of the reasons why I am taking this time to heal. What are the biggest things right now that you're trying to heal from? Or that you're in the process of healing?
Honestly, just losing my dad. It's crazy. I go through like, most of my friends know this. Brandon's going to figure it out at some point. But I like kind of go ghost on people, but it's not for anything but for my own benefit.
Yeah.
I've had issues with friends in the past who just don't understand why, I'm not always there, I'm not always present. But most of my friends now have come to the conclusion that they did nothing wrong. It's just me.
Yeah.
But I take a lot of alone time for myself because losing my dad, he's the only person I ever looked up to. So that's really the only thing I'm trying to heal from now. And I probably won't be able to learn how to live without him for the next couple years. So this is definitely going to be a really big process because my dad, he's technically my stepdad, but he's my dad, He kind of like saved my life from, my dad, obviously my biological father. So he's someone I greatly respected, and now I don't have anyone like that in my life. I used to look for him in other people. I stopped doing that almost as fast as
like
I started.
Romantic or just like anyone?
Just like people with similar traits. It didn't have to be like a romantic partner. I wanted to, I was looking for my dad everywhere. And I needed to accept that and be able to let him go. Letting him go is the wild part. But I got my palm read for the first time in my life, and my cards read the other day. And I had her, do the whole, how's my dad doing thing. And it made me feel a lot better, even though I obviously know that I don't know if that's a for sure thing.
Yeah.
Is what I'm going to say. But, and that was just like probably a week or two ago, maybe. I don't know how long it's been, but that helped me a lot.
Okay. What specific things do you think taught you the most on that you still hold on to the most?
I guess love. Like loving the people that are in my life, always taking care of them. Just the way that I love people and I take care of people. My dad was a huge lover. All he did was work his ass off his whole life. And, he was the person who, fed people when they needed it, took care of people when they needed it. Nobody else did that. And his family is very toxic. And I hope they see this. Very toxic people. And they were not there for him. And he just kept giving and giving and giving. But I also realized that can also be a flaw. So the things that I've learned from him that are good traits, I've learned how to manage them so they don't become bad ones. So that's the biggest thing my dad taught me. That and how to survive in the wild, that I could do.
Like teaching you like traps and stuff and like bushcraft type of stuff?
Yeah, my dad so I grew up on a farm. Yeah. So
really?
My dad was a big hunter.
Here in Arizona?
No, we're from Maine.
Maine. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Hi. Nice to meet you. So yeah, I basically grew up in all the seasons, mostly in the cold. So I just, he taught me everything I needed to know. If I ever needed to go off grid, I could definitely do that.
Dang. I've watched enough bushcraft videos for fun that I feel like I can kind of do the same.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's one of those situations where if you're actually put in a situation, it would all go out the window. So.
Do you know what poison ivy looks like?
I do.
Okay. It's one of the big things you need to know.
Growing up, I grew up in Flagstaff, so there's nothing but woods and stuff up there, and like especially in Sedona, coated with poison oak and poison ivy.
Yeah.
So I've had like different triggers, and then I also did Boy Scouts when I was young, which is the thing that I was teased about by my brother. With anytime we'd go fishing, he'd give all the stuff to me. I was the only one that actually knew how to tie the knots. The only one who actually knew how to do this or do that. And then anytime I'm camping with friends, I'm on fire duty because I'm the one that knows how to build the most efficient fire. So
I believe you could do it. You look like the kind of guy that could do it, for sure.
I watch enough of that. Have you seen that primitive technology guy.
Mm-mm.
It's like this like, I have no idea what nationality he is. I just know he's white as paper, but he goes into the woods with nothing but shorts on, and he's built like an entire ecosystem completely out of nothing. Like he's built like a whole brick house. He's built like everything completely from scratch from the stuff
Are you
around him.
talking about the guy that's in Arizona?
I don't think he's in Arizona.
There's one guy on TikTok that I think he's building a tiny home community, but I could be wrong. I don't keep up with this stuff. He got a lot of funding for it, I think, but he's kind of similar story. So that's why I was asking.
Really?
Yeah.
I just know that like I've never heard him speak. He only posts videos like once every like couple months.
You've
but
never
he
heard him
has like
speak?
no, like all of it is like it's almost like an ASMR thing. He never speaks or anything. He just builds the stuff and he kind of like there's no music. It's literally just sounds of him doing what he's doing. But he has like 10 million subscribers and he gets like a few million views in the first like 24 hours that he uploads a video. And it's all just like primitive stuff.
You can go viral for the dumbest shit.
I know. Well, he was
so
like
I'm
the
not surprised.
He was like the one before like you see like those like Filipino guys or whatever. Like, have you seen those ones where it's like this like the random ass guys on there that are just like building like a mansion out of dirt or something, and they come in.
Oh yes, I've seen them.
And like they come with like some weird like pickaxe tool or something. And they just do that. He was the OG before all of them, so he's been doing it for like a decade and a half.
Wow.
But he was the one that was doing it before any of them came in and decided to do all of it, which it was debunked later that none of them were actually true. They were all doing something, and then they had like an excavator or something or a tractor come in and start digging for them because people were starting to be like, oh, there's tractor trails all right here and stuff. And like some of them even had like the tractor in the background as they're trying to like act like they're building it with their own tools and stuff. So
That's wild.
yeah.
I've seen worse. I've seen people do some crazy things for content. And people who have gone viral, like with the ASMR videos. Oh my God,
I don't like
please.
those.
Stop, yes.
Especially if it has anything to do with mouth sounds, I immediately shut it. Like the ones like, I'm like, nope, skip. I cannot, I don't know. The whispering, the mouth sounds, the eating ones, I don't know how the eating videos are satisfying to some people. Like,
no, I don't understand it either. It's got to be its own kink, man.
I guess,
it's its own kink.
But there's some creators that make so much money off of like a 30-second video of whispering sweet nothings in your ear.
I've seen it. I actually watched one time for like 20 minutes straight just to get the same feeling as all the other people who were commenting like, oh my God, this is so satisfying. And after 20 minutes, I wanted to die.
I do like some of the ASMR, the visual ASMR, where like something fits perfectly together or something, but that's just because I have OCD. And so I need to be able to like see that like something is color coordinated the right way or something fits just the right way or something. So I'm more definitely of a visual ASMR. Completely off topic from everything that we were talking about before.
Well, to be honest, men are visual creatures anyway.
That's true. That is, I think, one of the things, especially in relationships, whether romantic or not, that has been a big learning curve, because I know that in previous relationships, I've had to do a thing to where anytime, whether they're a female friend or romantic partner, if they come to me, I have to stop everything I'm doing and be like, okay, do you want advice or to vent? Because as I guess the way that men think, I am naturally the problem solver. I'm naturally the guy who's like, okay, well, you're telling me a problem. I'm assuming you're telling me because you want it fixed. And anytime, like, I was in a previous relationships where that happened, they're like, you always just want to fix me. You want to fix everything I'm doing. And I'm like, isn't that why you're coming to me for this? And like, no, I just want to talk. And I'm like, well, where's the thing in that? Until I did it a couple times, I'm like, I can see why you do this. But that made it to where it changed my communication tactic now of like, if a woman comes to me now, I specifically be like, okay, before this, so I can know which brain to turn on. Are you just venting to me? Or can I release my true self and try to help you through this?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a good question to ask, but it's crazy how we always end up with the opposite person, because in my last relationship, it was exactly the opposite. He was the one that wouldn't give the advice. He would just be listening, and I'm like, why aren't you fucking talking? Like, I'm coming to you with a problem, because I am a problem solver. So is the person around you that's doing this a problem solver? Do they just like to talk and talk and talk and never ever fix the outcome of, whatever's going on around them? I am a problem solver for sure. So if I come out of my comfort zone to complain about my day, and someone doesn't tell me probably a good way to fix it that I might not know how, it irritates the piss out of me.
Yeah.
So bad, especially in relationships. Oh my goodness. I've had this conversation multiple times. It never changes. It's either you are a problem solver or you're not. So if you are a problem solver, it's also a good question to ask, because the person you're with might not be.
That's naturally, it's been proven even in psychology that men and women think with different parts of their brain. And women are naturally like the nurturers, the emotional ones. That's why like when they go to their girlfriends, it's not like helping each other. It's more like, girl, I know what you're talking about, or blah, blah, blah. Like they're egging them on. That's why I tell people, I'm like, if you have an issue in a relationship, don't ever go to your girlfriends for it, because one, it's biased information. They're always going to have your back. Even if you're in the wrong, they're going to have your back. And two, they're not going to be honest. They're going to be like supporting you.
That's not true. It depends on the person that you're with. You want to be with someone who keeps people around them that they look up to. Because if they're just going out to brunch with all the... I was going to say something, I'm not going to say it.
I'm sure there's been worse said on here before.
No, I'm definitely not going to say it. But say you go out with a bunch of bimbos every day, and the only thing they have is looks and no brain. Then you're choosing to be with someone that's like that, because as a man and a woman, you choose who you're with. So if you're hanging out, the biggest part about people in relationships first is that people don't get to know other people from the inside out before they choose what to do with that person. They just go, okay, I have a physical attraction. I have somewhat of an emotional attraction. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And then let's see how it goes. Nope, you can't do that. You have to know exactly the person you're with. It's ridiculous that people don't do this. And I'm also guilty of that as well. It's something you learn along the way.
Well, and my other thing with kind of going to your friends for that kind of advice, you don't know what they're going through. So if you are having a relationship issue with your boyfriend and you go to the girl that just got cheated on, it's going to be skewed advice, because they're in their fuck men, all men are the same type of attitude in a lot of situations. Or the same thing with the guy. If you're a guy and you're going to your homie for whatever advice, like, hey, like, I think my girl's doing this or whatever, if he just got played by a girl, or he got catfished or something like that, you can guarantee it's going to be like, oh, fuck women, dude. Just go play her, do whatever. Like,
who around you is doing that to you?
I used to have people like that until...
Used to?
Kind of. I had some friends that I would kind of go to, but I've always been good at filtering advice from friends. And I also... So my thing used to be going to other women to kind of learn, because of the fact that I know that men and women think differently. So if there's a specific issue that I'm having, I go to one of my female friends and be like, hey, what are your thoughts? Because you think like a woman. What could she possibly be thinking about this that me as a man, I'm oblivious to? And I know sometimes that can kind of get a little hairy with doing that. Like, oh, why are you going to other girls about her issues? But I always did it. And
realistically, if you can't talk to your own partner about your issues,
I
not ready.
Yeah.
But also, stop being around people whose first manipulation tactic is projection. The people who want your life to be as miserable as theirs is in that moment are not the people for you. Because that's the reason why I disagree with what you said. I think it's the people that you surround yourself with that matters, because hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
Except, people who have grown from certain aspects in their life that allow them to give the proper guidance. So for me personally, if I was going through a breakup and my friend came to me and they said, hey, I'm having this problem, I would pick that situation apart logically and tell them how I logically feel the situation or relationship is going to go. I'm not going to tell someone, fuck the guy or fuck the girl that you're with just because I'm upset. So it's definitely the people that you're around, for sure.
I definitely agree. I realized we haven't even talked about really a lot of your professional career, which is one of the biggest things I wanted to get into, because I recently just learned that while you are opening a tattoo shop, that you don't actually tattoo yourself.
No, I don't.
Why?
So my real dad was an artist, and my dad was in jail a lot, first and foremost. So
Stepdad or real dad?
Real dad.
Okay.
He used to draw me these very beautiful pictures. I wish I had them today. I would have brought them here to show them. They're absolutely beautiful. And for only having one little pen and one little pencil in jail, he made something out of nothing. He was a very talented man. And just growing up, I've been in the tattoo industry for about 12 years. I started getting tattoos when I was 14. I'm
First one at 14.
I'm almost 26, so about 12 years now. And
what was your first one?
Oh, God. I got this little compass in memory of my stepdad, who was still alive at the time, obviously, but I don't know. I felt like it was right to get for him. I don't know why. I was 14. I was stupid. Fun fact about this tattoo, while it was being done, the tattoo gun broke inside of my arm. So there's 2 little white lines on the red parts of this compass. The other white lines are not there because the tattoo gun broke. So.
Gotcha.
That's my first one.
Did you have to pay for that one?
No, I don't think so. I was 14. I didn't have a job.
Oh.
Or maybe I did. I don't know. The tattoos were just passed around very not so elegantly up north. We had a lot of house parties, a lot of house tattoos, a lot of very stuff, a lot of stuff we shouldn't have been doing.
I would probably be at like MGK at this point if that was how easily accessible tattoos were for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it.
Yeah. A lot of my good friends from back home are artists too, so it was just the right industry to be in for me.
Yeah.
Because I have heart in the industry. I express all of my stuff through, tattoos. So even though I'm not an artist, I feel like I'm actually better off not being an artist and owning a shop. A lot of people don't feel that way because a lot of really stupid people get into the industry. They end up owning a tattoo shop because you can make a lot of money in this industry. And they just don't run it because they don't have the heart for it. But me, I guess, even though I'm not an artist, I still want to be a really good business owner. I want to have a fair environment, and I just want to create some badass shit. That's all I want to do.
So what's been the process of opening a tattoo shop? I can imagine there's a lot of hoops to jump through.
Nope.
No?
Not at all. You do not need a license to tattoo in Arizona. You don't need a license to own a tattoo shop in Arizona. There's
really?
You need nothing to open a shop.
So you just go to a warehouse and be like, I want to just tattoo here?
The most you need is, depending on what part of Phoenix you're in, you need a building permit. That's it. That's it.
And so you being the owner, are you just like renting space out to to tattoo artists, or
Yeah.
like, are they your employees, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so you own the shop and then you employ other artists, and then is it just like a commission base? So it's like a tattoo comes in, you take 50%, they get 50%, or?
Yeah, essentially. A lot of shops run 60-40. A lot of shops run 50-50. For the first 6 months I'm opening mine, though, I'm giving people grace. So I'm only going to do, I don't know if we're going to solidify it at 35-65 or if we're going to do like 40-60. I'm not sure. Like, we keep 35, we keep 40, and then they keep the majority of what they make for the first 6 months. And we don't need to do that because we have way more than enough money for marketing and whatever expenses we need to do to get our name out there. I have to have the shop actually done to be able to do all that stuff. So
Where did you find the funding to do all this? I mean, I know that you came from a lucrative type of career with dancing. Did it all come from that, or did you find investors, or how did that work?
So I do have a business partner. He's cool. He's from Chicago. I didn't need one though. I didn't need one financially. But I definitely don't know everything in business, and I'm aware of that. And so one of my very good friends offered to do this with me, and that's what we're doing. He's a super cool guy. He's not going to be around much because he lives in Chicago. So
Gotcha.
But yeah, we're doing it together. I'm the main person. If I have a question about something, I'll just call him. He'll tell me. He's ran an insurance company for I think 10 years now, 12 years now. So he knows what's going on. He knows what we need, what we don't need, the stuff that I don't know. And I know everything pretty much else.
And how do you find the artists?
Indeed, you can put. That's where I've been finding most of mine. But honestly, if you know people, like I have people from back home that are gonna come out and guest spot for a couple weeks. So, I mean, you can find artists anywhere. There's a lot of. I know that there's a lot of tattoo shops in Phoenix, but there isn't enough because there's way too many artists that don't have a place to go.
It's very difficult to find somebody that, like, I think every one of my tattoos I've gotten done by different artists. And I know that tattoo loyalty is a thing. You go back to the same artist every time.
Yeah.
But I haven't found that artist yet that I'm, like, that happy with the work. Like, I got the last tattoo. Do you know the tattoo expo that happens here in, like, February?
Yeah.
So I went there. I wasn't even planning on getting a tattoo, honestly. I was just walking around, and some guy was talking to me, and I was like, you know what? I have a little extra money on me. I've been meaning to get this, and so I got one done. And I was going to go to one guy at first, but then I think he was just charging a little too much, especially for, like, what he wanted to do. And so I went to another guy who gave me a really good deal. But already, like, within, like, a week, part of the ink started pulling out and stuff.
Can I see it?
It's that one. So, like, in the center is supposed to be filled in, and, like, the ink started getting pulled out and stuff. And then there's other ones to where he didn't line up the lines.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see it from here.
So, and, like, there's other spots that's blown out and stuff. I've had some horrific, like, I have to get my entire half sleeve, I think, covered up because it's just horrible. So,
well, honestly, that could happen for a lot of reasons. Your skin, the reaction to the ink that they use, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
It could have been anything. But it didn't get infected, and you didn't die, so...
Yeah, that is... I've never had a tattoo get infected.
Yeah.
I've always been OCD about making sure that, like, I put stuff on it, or, like, treating it like an open wound. I come from somewhat of a medical background, so I know how to care for wounds pretty easily, and that part's not too difficult. So, you're not doing Airbnb anymore?
I will be.
Oh.
But I'm just not going to do rental arbitrage. I'm going to own all of my properties. I'm not dealing with any more landlords. I can't do it.
So what's making you jump from tattooing or the tattoo shops to Airbnb?
Well, I started Airbnb first, and my first experience with Airbnb was honestly with one of my friends at the time, and he just didn't care about his real estate at all. So I was definitely okay with giving them up to do this. But I'm going to have a lot of Airbnbs eventually. I'm just not going to go through somebody else to get them.
So did you own the other properties, or were they just managed by you?
Just managed by me.
Okay.
My friend he didn't care about his real estate, so he was just handing me all of his properties. That's how that happened. And then when I realized how unprofessional and unorganized all of this stuff was, like, they were, for example, I had 2 in Biltmore, and he wanted to sell that whole building, which I was fine with. I don't care. Sell your building. Good for you. But he had an inspection every single week, sometimes twice a week, and that's really bad for business. Not only that, but they would tell me last minute. Sometimes they would put a sign up on the door and wouldn't text me at all. and I'm not there because I have cleaners running it. So
Right.
sometimes I wouldn't even know that they're doing an inspection. They'd show up. My guests would be like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, you guys trying to come and kill us?" Like, it was bad. So super unprofessional, and it was definitely not something that I would do again. If I did, like, say I found someone with an apartment complex with like 10 units or something, and they wanted someone to Airbnb them out, they wanted to be super hands off, but they had a property management company handling those apartments that I actually trusted and got along with, I would do that again. I guess I would give it another shot, but I feel like owning my own properties and Airbnb them out is just a better way to go.
Would you only do Airbnb?
What do you mean?
Or would you think about doing like long-term rental?
Maybe. Airbnb is the way to go, though, especially in Arizona. There's not enough Airbnbs here.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Everybody likes to say that the industry is overly saturated, but I'm not going to lie to you, it's not. It's not at all.
So I had another girl on that she does that whole thing too, but every time you go on YouTube or you go on anything, it seems like everyone knows how to do this,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. It seems the hardest part is the initial start, it seems. Getting to know the right people that allow you to kind of get an opportunity. Like, how do you find that initial person that maybe owns the property that is going to let you be the manager for it?
I guess it depends on the person you are and the people you're talking to. Because when I got into it, I knew more about it. I knew like everything about it before I started. I knew what I was doing. I had little to no screw ups. I had one DV incident in my unit that was very bad.
A what? A DB incident?
DV, domestic violence incident, in one of my units. Smashed everything that I had. That was like the only screw up, but I can't control what other guests do.
Right.
So before I came into the industry, I knew everything about it anyway, because I'm not going to go head first into something if I'm not confident about it. And I was doing it by myself. Like, I don't have a business partner like I do with Mario. So doing the Airbnbs was just a big, I don't know, I guess not a first time positive experience. It wasn't all negative either. It was just the people who owned it. But it is the type of person you are. Because people are only going to do business with other people that they trust.
Right.
So if you come off not really knowing what you're doing and you're stuttering a lot, you don't really know what you're talking about, or you don't seem confident in what you're talking about, people are going to read off of that every time.
Is that kind of like a fake it till you make it thing, or how did you originally learn to have that confidence, especially when it came to like your first deal?
Well, I learned my confidence in the dancing industry a long time ago. I don't think you understand the type of people that we meet in the club. We meet anywhere from millionaires to, people who just come in from a 9-to-5 job trying to have, a drink, sit down, and, just look at all the girls. We meet different types of people all the time.
Like I said, I've been to the club one time, and it was on a Sunday night, ironically, so probably one of the slowest nights possible that you could go.
Did you say Sunday?
This is a Sunday night.
Sundays usually aren't bad.
Sunday nights?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I went in there, and maybe I was just in there too early, because I think we went in like right when it opened. And so like not even all the dancers were out, and just like kind of, I don't know. I grew up a dancer, so I was kind of just like paying attention to what the girls were doing, to see if like they're actually dancing or if it's like what they're focusing on. Because I've seen some people that are just completely skilled. Like even just like I have friends that are pole dancers. And the stuff they could do on a pole, I'm like, that takes the most skill I've ever seen. But then other times, I'm like, you're literally just twerking. You're literally just, I don't know.
Well, because, I hate to say it, but, you have different types of dancers in the industry, right? So you have girls who are going to do the most on stage because that's what they love to do.
Right.
And then, but dancing on stage is not where you make your money. Girls know that. That's why they don't dance. And honestly, people can't hate on it because it's basically like you go into the strip club for the fantasy, or you're going in with your boys to show off. Whatever you're going into the strip club for, you're going to get a fantasy out of it. The fantasy doesn't happen on stage for most people because men are more visual creatures. realistically, you're a dancer, so you care how they were dancing. Most men don't.
Yeah.
But the type of people that you meet in the industry, it could range, I've met tons of celebrities in the industry. I've met just like low-key businessmen who have tons of fucking money. I've just met all the people that you would intimidate a regular person in real life. And eventually you just get so desensitized to it. Then you start to be able to pick things apart for what they are. So going up to people and asking them, hey, do you want to, maybe Airbnb your property out? There's obviously, I'm not going to like do that, okay? But asking someone just to do that, I'm not afraid of the word no.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? I go up there, I say, hey, would you like to, why aren't you, first of all, when I was looking for other houses to rent before I moved, I asked a ton of people, why aren't you just Airbnb-ing this out? Because there was one property that had 6 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms.
That's like heaven for Airbnb.
You could rent out every single room separately and make so much money off of that one property, and you don't even know it. And I think they actually did Airbnb that property out. I didn't take them on because I had other stuff going on at the time.
Gotcha.
So, you can find connections anywhere. Just stop being scared of the word no. You get a no, you move on.
Yeah. That's what I learned in sales when I did sales for a little bit, is like 3-strike rule maybe, but a no, there's a purpose behind them saying no. You just have to find why they're saying no and turn that into a yes. That was pretty much what I learned in sales. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now with the tattoo shop, the Airbnbs? Like, what do you hope your life's going to look like in 10 years?
I'll be in Bali.
In Bali.
I will be living full-time in Bali within the next 5 or 6 years, for sure. That is my 5-year plan, actually. I was just talking about this.
Why Bali?
I don't know. I fuck with Indonesia. Why not?
Why not? Okay.
They do eat dogs over there. I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know how I feel about that either.
Actually, I take that back. I know how I feel about that. I'm very uncomfortable about that.
Yeah.
But there is a guy on TikTok. Sorry, I keep bringing TikTok up, but I found this guy. He actually goes to like dog pounds where you can go buy dogs to cook and do whatever you want with them. He takes them and he sets them free on like acres of land, and he just takes care of dogs. That's what he does. I appreciate that, man. The ends of the earth.
Yeah, that guy sounds like someone I want to meet.
Yeah, definitely.
So I asked this question to everybody. This is like the closing question. And I asked just because everyone has their own definitions of it, just depending on where you come from and depending on just what you desire. For you, what is your true definition of success?
I won't consider myself fully successful in life until I've given all the people who've given me everything, until I've given everything back to them and more, you know? Because, like, realistically, I could survive with nothing. But my siblings, I don't want them to do that. And my grandmother, I can't discredit my grandmother, damn it. I don't know how long she's going to be here for, but hopefully she gets to see it when I'm able to get to her. So I guess I wouldn't consider myself genuinely comfortable in success until I've done more things for the people around me that have never been done for me.
Okay. I like that.
We're at 1 hour and 6 minutes. It's crazy.
I know. These things, it's surprising of how quickly or how much the time passes.
I don't know about you, but I've had to pee for the last 30 minutes.
Oh, I have too. Yeah.
I want to go pee so bad.
Well, thank you, Courtney. I appreciate the vulnerability. I appreciate the honesty. And I'm excited to see what happens. You'll have to give me a tour of your tattoo shop when it's done so we can kind of see what everything looks like.
Absolutely. It's going to be dope.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you.
Ditto. I'm going to go pee.
Yeah,
Bye.
me too.